Hello and welcome to this episode where I will show how to open and close doors. This is obviously a topic that has been covered many times, but I will try to add a few extras. I will add a little sound and I will add a little animation. Alright, so let's get started. In the scene I have a door, and if you've been following my other episodes you will know that I have this interaction system where you can, if I press a key, it will say I'm opening a door, and obviously nothing is happening, and I can pick up weapons, and actually right now I can also pick up things and drop them. Alright, so but that's not what we're going to talk about. This is the interaction system. So right now I have this door that I can interact with, and we want to make something happen here. So first of all, just to set the scene, let's we have the starter content. Let's put up some doorway, and we have this one. Whoops. Let's move this over and take our little door, and I think it's rotated a little bit. Right, something like that. And we have a door frame. We need a door frame for this tutorial. Okay, and let's put it somewhere here. That doesn't look correct. Okay. Sorry about that. I need to have it precise, otherwise it's gonna annoy me. Right, this looks okay, I think. Maybe we need to move it out a little bit. Something like that. Alright, first of all, let's see if we have collision on. Well, nope, we don't. So we don't need to open. That's the tutorial. Thank you. Hope you liked it. Anyway, let's go to our interactable door and start off by putting collision on this. We have it down here. Block all dynamic like this. Let's test this out. Alright, so now we can't pass through. So, inside our character blueprint, you may remember we have this interaction stuff going on, and whenever we have an interactable, we'll just tell it that we want to interact with it. And in this case, this is the door. So if we switch to the interactable door again, we have two, let's just get rid of that. We have this interact, which we'll call open door, and this is actually calling back to our base character, which is down here. And we'll just move this down, because in a bit we will be done with this. Alright, so first of all let's get rid of the print statement here, because soon we'll have everything implemented. So we are actually receiving this open door, and then we are calling it back to our door, and that's where this one is being hit. Right, so the actual place to implement this would be in this event open door. Actually, this is a bad name. It should be interact door, because we will also use this for closing the door. Anyway, so let's dive right into it. First of all, we need some kind of way to determine which state the door is in. So let's create a variable to hold that state, which will be called is open. Actually, no, let's make it is closed because it's more logical. All right, compile, and to begin out with, we want it to be closed, and we want to play a sound depending on which state this is in, so we need a branch for this. And drag in this one. Right. So we want to play a sound as a first thing. At location. Let me just duplicate this one. Alright, so we have to play, and we need a location to play this at, and it will just be this door location. So get actor location for the door and plug those into both these. Alright. So let's just comment this while we are at it. So play, open, close sounds. Right. And we need a few sounds to play here. Fuck's sake. And I've actually been around in my house to open and close doors with my iPhone and playing around with Audacity. So let me just show what I did. Recordings here. I have I can't remember which one it was. Hang on. I think it was door 2. This one. And I think alright, so I just cut these two sequences out, and actually I ended up with a few different sounds, and they are here. So let's take a look. I have an open and I have a close sound. Right. So we're going to use these two sounds for this example. So let's take these two here, and can I do this? Let's dump them into, let's start off by dumping them into this library, and I think we need to arrange this a little bit. So let's make under interact, let's make it doors, and let's make a standard door. Right. So this is not really necessary, but anyway, I like to keep it nice, clean. Get rid of that, and then we'll take these two sounds and dump them in here, along with our interactable door. So move here. Okay. So we were trying to set up the sounds. So let's say if it is open, if it is closed, then we want to play an open sound. And if we are closed, then we want to play an open sound. Sorry, close, like this. So let's test this out real quick. See if I got it right or wrong. Whoops. I have a bug down here. I think I need to plug this one in. Okay. Right. Alright, so you can hear the sound playing now, but it's the same sound and nothing is really happening. So let's go fix this, because we also need to change the state, of course, of this is closed. So let's make this as the next one. So we'll set this one and we'll also set this one, but this time we'll set it to, whoops, to closed, and comment set new door spade, like this. Alright. So now we have the sounds correctly set up. So let's now actually make the logic that should open and close the door. And for this we will use a timeline. And let's give it a name. Door timeline. Let's make an underscore. Okay, doesn't really matter. So if we are closing the door, well, anyway, yeah, then let's just plug these two in. This is going into place from start, and this is going to reverse from end. So I can't really figure out which one is which. So in this one we'll have the rotation to drive the rotation of the door opening and closing. Let's save this, and should be fairly quick, so something like 0.25 seconds. And shift click to make a node here and say exactly 0. We want to be at 0 rotation, and at the end here shift and click again 0.25. We want to be at 90 degrees. For some reason it pops in some decimals, don't worry about that. Let's save and compile, and switch back to the event graph. So now we have this rotation coming out here, and we wanna set the axis relative rotation. This one. I think some of the other ones can also be used, but I'm using this one and plugging it into update. So, and since this is a rotation, and let's for now assume that the door will always be planar. So let's make a rotator, and we want to drive this into the yaw, and then plug this one in, and let's see what happens now. It's almost working, but we had some little glitch in the beginning. I don't know if you saw that. It's starting off by closing actually, so I think we might have a bug somewhere. Let's see. It's closed to begin with. Anyway, let's not worry about it. We can fix it later. One other issue I want to address right now is, let's say we have a door located like this. I don't think this has been covered really, but so if we open it now, it's gonna open half kind of, and if I close it again, it's gonna end up wrong, and we can't really get around that. So a way to fix this is to start off by when we begin play, to register an initial rotation, so the rotation that it has when we start the game. So let's add a variable to hold that. Let's call it initial rotation, and it will be a rotator. And we get the doors rotation, active rotation, and we set this one? Alright, comment this. So now that we have that in place, let's see what else we need to fix, because down when at the open door event, I think we need to also take this into account, and let's add a comment around this. Swing door open 90 degrees. So aside from just taking this rotation and putting it into the rotator here, we also need to get the initial rotation. So let's break this one out, and we have an initial yaw value here that we need to add to this one. So this one we need to add to this one. So get away. So we are basically taking the rotation that we initially have and then adding the rotation from the timeline, and then we are driving that into the new rotator here. Okay, so let's make a little bit more space for that, like this, and then we'll just use this inside. Right, so let's see how this looks now. Alright, so this also actually fixed the issue we had with this initial swing, when it just was kind of open in the beginning. So now we can close our door, and that's nice. One thing actually you will notice is that if I'm standing with my back to the wall, to the door, I can still open it. And if we want to fix this, we can also go into our base character and add a little extra. So let's do that real quick. It's a quick fix. So inside here, let's add a scene component, and let's just leave it here in the middle and call it direction. And if you have followed all this tutorial, this series of tutorials, you will probably have something like function being called it's hidden here, get best interaction. Oh, it's kind of a mess right now, but we basically use the follow camera. So if we zoom in, we have the best interaction. If you follow this one out, where we calculate the vector to figure out which one is closest and so on, then we can switch out this follow camera with this direction instead, which is just a scene component. So let's do that. Right. So if I turn towards the door, you can see that it's highlighting. If I turn the camera away, it's still highlighting. But if I turn the player away from the door, now it's not highlighting anymore. So now we have this direction. One thing that I think is kind of a shame is that I really have to be precise now. So let's lower this value to something like 0.65. Compile again, play. So we zoom in. We don't have to be that precise. We can come in from a bigger angle now. Okay. Hope this sounds otherwise this is kind of a shame. Alright, so let's add a little animation also to this, and this will actually explain why I have spent so much time on implementing all this throwing back and forth with events. So in this case, I want, if we zoom in on this open door, I'm getting the event. Initially, I'm throwing this event that I want to interact with something, which is being caught by the door in this case, and it's being called up here. So what it does is actually just tell ourselves that when interacting with us, we want to open a door. You should open a door because we are a door. So when we come back here and we have the open door, we are telling the door that it should open. But since we want to animate something in here, it makes sense to have all this back and forth, because otherwise you would have had to put it inside interact and check if it's a door, and then have a lot of if statements here. So instead, this is a more general way of doing it. So I have a helper function called montage play. This one, which is just taking an anim instance, and then it will play this. Whoops. Montage play. Get anim instance. Is it not this one? No, it's play montage maybe. It's a shame I gave it a name that was almost similar to the existing one. Huh. Hang on, sorry. Oh, it's this one. It's the message. This one. But anyway, you can if you know how to play a montage, then it shouldn't be a problem. I just made this little helper thingy. Okay, so I need to make a montage with an animation, and for that I used I went to Mixamo and found a small animation. I think door, and I just picked one of these out and downloaded, and I've already done that, so in order not to do this again, I will come into my, I have some Mixamo animations down here already, imported, no, not that one, sorry, and apparently not here also. Anyway, I'll do this. So I'll make a folder for that, and I have now we need to import it, otherwise it's going to screw up. Okay, sorry. So first of all, I'm going to import it, and I'm using this other Mixamo character to import onto, because then otherwise it's not really working. So now I have my character import on my animation, and I retarget it to my skeleton, and now I don't need this anymore. So it dumped the animation on the same folder. I have so many folders now. Here as a mesh, the skeleton. So let's move it up to the animations for door, and let's take a look at this animation. So it's a long animation actually, so since I will just make very short, let's start it somewhere around here, remove some here, and somewhere like here, and just remove the last bit. So I have just a small animation going like this. I think it's maybe a little bit too long, I don't know, but anyway, let's check it out. Let's close this up and create, let's get rid of that copy, and let's make a montage out of this. Create anim montage, right, and let's call it, let's just keep the name, that's fine. And I want to make sure I have a rifle slot I'm using already, because, and I'm just going to reuse this in this case because it's going to work from the spine 1 and upwards. So in order to not get all that feet animation included, I'm just using this one. Alright, so let's play this montage also. This one. Right. Compile, play. And there we go. We have a little animation. You may want to maybe make it play a little faster or something. Seem kind of out of sync with the actual door opening. I don't know, is that what's better? Alright, one last thing we can add before I end this very long tutorial is to see if we can, because right now the doors always start off by being closed. So if I wanted this to start off by being open, I can add a little extra by making this public and compiling. And then I can come into my door and say, okay, I want it to be open from the beginning. So if I do that, it's still closed. But let's add a little logic to the begin. Begin play. So it will change that. All right. So what we do is to get the variable is closed, and then say, okay, if it's open, then we want to add the rotation already to this to the door. So we start off by checking that with the branch here, and we'll get the initial rotation down here, and just like we did down before, we'll break this rotator, and we'll take the yaw and plus 90 degrees, and then make a rotate again, make rotator, and then we'll just set the actor rotation. And we will not do this if the door is closed. We will only do this if it is open. So we'll draw from the false part. Right, so there we go. Let's comment this and say swing door open 90 degrees if it's in open state, like this. So let's compile and save, play. So, oops, wrong one does that all the time. I keep missing it. So it needs to go into yaw, not roll. So once we play the game, it's open to begin with, and the sound also is different. I don't know if you could hear that. And that's working also. So I don't think I have anything more. It's the final blueprint is looking like this, and I think it helps a lot to comment the stuff you make as you go along. Waiting out a few days can actually mean that when you come back to it and look at it, it's like, what the fuck is this? So I think it's a good thing, practice, to do this all the time. I don't think I missed anything. So what we have here is a door we can interact with, and yeah, we have an initial state which we can graphics, and we have sound, and we have animation on top of it, and we have modified our behavior so that we can only interact with stuff when we are facing it. And that also holds for this. So if I'm facing away from it, I can't interact with it, but as soon as I look at it, I can interact with it, and go and dump this over here, and maybe take this one also. Anyway, and we can pull out our gun. I think I covered that in a different tutorial. Also the shooting, which I don't have in this one apparently. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hope you liked it, and hit like if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more of this hobby project of mine. Bye bye.